Coming up in the news, leader of the business community responding to the Prime Minister's appeal regarding vaccinations. The COVID-19 vaccine rolled out in Bimini today. And the Minister of Agriculture addressing the growing role of agriculture in the economy. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening. I'm Atalia Hall. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news tonight, we have reaction to comments made by the Prime Minister regarding vaccinations. The nation's leader, during the signing over ceremony for the change in ownership of the Grand Bahama International Airport yesterday, appealed to employers to encourage employees to get vaccinated to ensure that the economy remains open. Well, tonight, the leader of the Grand Bahama business community says while he understands the benefits to the economy, he says other factors should be taken into consideration.
I want to send a message to the business sector. Kindly encourage all of your employees to become vaccinated. Because if your employees are vaccinated and one individual enter your premises who has evidence of COVID, you need not close your premises. You can continue.
The Prime Minister's comments sparking a heated debate. His comments were made on Grand Bahama, considered the industrial capital. President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Greg Larota, says he believes the Prime Minister is making decisions in the best interest of the country and the Bahamian people.
He, I'm sure, knows more about the negative impacts that this is having to our economy and from a financial standpoint what this means, especially if it continues further. And so from that standpoint, I believe he is doing what he feels is in all of our best interests to get out of this situation as soon as possible. And certainly you can't deny that vaccination, especially to the point that you could create herd immunity, would get us out of this the quickest.
But in the meantime, Larota says such a decision cannot be made in isolation. He says it is important to examine the impact these decisions will have on every person, not just the majority.
Maybe those that are in the minority that may have legitimate reasons why they would not want to take a vaccine. Yes, we should encourage everyone who has no legitimate reasons not to go ahead and vaccinate. So from that standpoint, I understand encouraging the business community to do so.
Now, although the vaccine is not mandatory, the Chamber President says these decisions can also create hardships for those that are asked to take an RT-PCR test weekly by employers.
From the employer standpoint, they may take the position, you didn't take the vaccine, so you have to pay for that test yourself. So then that's hardship for those that don't take the vaccine because now they faced with an option. Take the vaccine, try and pay for it themselves, or not have a job.
Larota says overall he believes it will be a difficult decision for business owners, but he thinks that the vaccine is something that should be encouraged.
We should continue to put information out there that persons can have access to when they're making these decisions, because I feel in some cases there are persons who don't want to take it, but it's because of the negative information that they're seeing on social media and even on the news. Some folks in the medical profession are advising against this vaccine. So if that's where you're getting your information from, that could really cause a phobia.
But the Chamber President says while the business community is being called on to promote vaccination, he believes it may be a good idea for the public sector to lead the charge.
And I do not know if the government have the same policy of persons being made to take a RT-PCR test once a week if they don't take it. But certainly I think the government has an opportunity to lead by example in this situation.
More doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine is expected in the country by the end of May, and the administration of the second dose for those who got their first shot will begin on May 10th. Meantime, the vaccine rollout is taking place in Bimini today, and according to reports to our newsroom, there were long lines of Bimini residents waiting to get the jab. Now, we spoke to Assistant Administrator Deidre Fox earlier today, and she says so far, Biminites have been very receptive.
We have 100 persons left. We started at 10:30 this morning, and it's been a continuous process. Yeah, everyone is eligible. We have the young, the not so young, persons with underlying conditions. Everybody's coming. The public of Bimini has really embraced this opportunity, and they're out full force.
She says those who received the vaccine today were pre-registered, and she's happy that Biminites are embracing the opportunity.
Yes, there are time slots from 10 to 12, right up to 4 to 5. This is the only day that's slated for Bimini, and I was a little concerned when I saw the turnout, and I wondered if everyone was going to be accommodated. But it seems like the team out of Nassau is quite ready for Bimini.
Now to the latest stats on COVID-19 in the country. Another life has been lost to COVID-19 in the country. An 80-year-old man of New Providence died on Tuesday, April 27th, bringing the country's COVID-19 death toll to 199. Of the 60 new cases reported by health officials, 40 were on New Providence, 4 cases in Grand Bahama, 1 in Abaco, 2 in Exuma, 15 cases in Andros, and 2 cases were reported out of Long Island. 54 people are hospitalized. 4 of them are in the intensive care unit. There are 679 active cases. The Bahamas' total COVID-19 case count is now at 10,453. A key priority of the government is the revival of Grand Bahama's economy. That coming from the Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, who was the keynote speaker at the Grand Bahama Business Webinar Seminar, which wrapped up today. The Minister of Agriculture zooming in on the growing role of agriculture. Rumiko Knowles reports.
The country saw a loss of some $3 billion due to Hurricane Dorian and a higher figure with respect to the pandemic. The traditional economic structures, tourism, and financial services were the twin engines commanding the overwhelming attention of the country. But going forward, the Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Honorable Michael Pintard, says the government recognizes that diversification of the economy is needed in order for transformation. He shared some of the ideas the government has made practical through policy decisions, legislation, programs, and projects.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources then put in place an emergency food program. Our goal essentially was to ensure that we responded quickly and decisively in assisting farmers and fishers who were grappling with the very issue of survival. So we did a number of things. One, we engaged in land clearing and spent in the vicinity of $1 million assisting farmers throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in preparing their land.
He says they also worked closely with the IDB, who assisted with consultants who played a pivotal role in helping to gather badly needed data. Subsequently, they were able to identify 77 of thousands of food items that Bahamians consume.
We recognize that in these areas, that is the 77 items, we had the ability to produce products that would allow us to be competitive with the international market in terms of pricing, quality, and sustainability. And as long as we could meet those 3 criteria, we had an opportunity to carve into the $1 billion, with a B, billion-dollar food bill, which we have, and save over the course of the next 3 to 4 years, a minimum of $200 million on our food bill.
In addition to developing important studies, he says they were mandated to conduct a land audit.
And so we have begun the land liberalization policy. And so we have, in the case of Grand Bahama, just over the last several weeks, we have signed the approval for in excess of 200 acres to be allocated to a number of the smallholder farmers, and larger parcels will be made available to the more seasoned veteran farmers. So we fully expect that there will be several hundred acres in very short order available to farmers.
Quintard notes that his ministry has commenced their program of implementing hydroponic and aquaponic systems in schools.
We fully expect that by year's end, more than 60 hydroponic and or aquaponic systems will be in Ministry of Education schools and a number of our private schools. We are seeing similar success with the Ministry of Tourism. Minister Diagula and his team and Janet Johnson with the Agri-Tourism Council have been very active. As a result, we have been meeting with hoteliers who are quite anxious to engage in contract farming.
He adds that they will continue to collaborate with all environmental groups in the Bahamas. Rumiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Romiko. In other news, the Righteous Government Movement, a new political party rolling out its campaign on Grand Bahama this weekend. Leader of the party, Pastor Micklin Seymour, says their mission is to stand for what is right and to fight what is just. Seymour says they chose to launch on Grand Bahama because he believes Grand Bahama is where God wants them to begin. Their focus, he notes, will be on utilizing natural resources to change the current economic situation.
Now, the Righteous Government Movement have a mandate, and that is to unveil God's redemptive purpose and plan for the Bahamas. God is calling this nation to be a praise, a model, a standard, an example to the nations of the world. And he has called the Righteous Government Movement to be that governmental arm that will cause the Bahamas to become a righteous nation. Grand Bahama can be grand again. It has all the natural things to cause that to happen. And so we seek to change and work closely with the Port of Authority to cause this to happen. No longer can we allow those natural resources to continue to go out of this country.
Now, the party say they intend to ratify a full slate of candidates. Deputy Leader Dexter Edwards and Chairman Samuel Thompson are confident that the party can win the next general election.
As the Deputy Leader for Righteous Government Movement, I will be running here in Grand Bahama. And our plan, my plan is to focus on the economics. This Bahamas has been in a place from 1835, ever since slavery was abolished in the Bahamas. We have been to a place where we only work the plantation, but we never reap the reward.
The people needs to rejoice. The opportunity is given. There will be no excuse. Now, there is a mandate that we will be unveiling truth. And truth will show that the Creator has an intention for us to have wealth made common in our commonwealth, because he's given us resources undepletable.
Now stay with us, there's more news right after this break.